So yeah, I'm Shrisha. Um, I'm working for Slack right now, and I've got like 3 years of experience, and yep, that's about it. Are you looking to switch jobs? Are you this is practice in
Yeah,
general?
I'm preparing for some interviews. So I have some interviews lined up for a few companies. So yeah, I'm preparing for that
Cool.
here.
Okay. Yep. Do you wanna start? I believe this is your question.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the question is to flatten a dictionary. Okay, it's known as object dictionary. Yeah. Okay, given a dictionary, write a function flatten dictionary that returns a flattened version of it. Okay, if a certain key is empty, it should be excluded from the output. Because I'm going through the example, key 1, key 2, A, B, C, D, and okay, so okay, so key 1, key 2, key 2 dot A, key 2 dot B, key 2 dot C. Oh, okay. Uh, and since the last thing is empty, we are not including it. Okay, so my first thought comes is like use a recursive function somehow, so that if it is a simple object I can just if it is a simple key value pair, then I can directly use that. Otherwise, if the value is a nested object, I could recursively call the function to flatten that nested object.
Yep. I think yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay, so thinking of the recursive function, I want to just give it the nested object and it should flatten only if the keys are valid. Uh, okay, yeah, I think that's my approach. If you have any questions, or should I proceed with coding?
Any edge cases that you want to think about right now, or um, it's fine if you test a bunch of edge cases and then you want to change your code. That's fine too, but your call.
Uh, I would like to first code for code and then see what edge cases come up.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, cool. So I'll define the result that I would be returning from the function. That is just an empty object by definition. I'll use another function inside this function, so it is a higher order function kind of thing.
Mhm.
Flatten, and this would receive an object that I need to flatten. Uh, I'll just pass here for now. Okay, I may call it directly with the dictionary. Now for a comma b, which is key value pair in the object, I would check if the key is not an empty string. So then only I would proceed. I would also need to pass the actual result, or I can directly append it in the result object itself. So if it is a key, okay. So, um, okay, so it makes sense for me to pass down the actual key to the flatten object, so I can directly use that and concatenate the keys and the nested keys in that. So what I would do is first I will pass an empty string that I'm concatenating as path. So if it is a valid key, then uh, in the result of that key or path plus key equals flatten of no, no, first I need to check the value as well. So if it is just a value, if value is of type string, and I would just append the else. mm, that yeah, flatten the v with path plus k. K would be the key. Yeah. Okay, so let me do a dry run and see how this will work. So first I have this first key value pair, which is key 1 and 1. I call the flatten function with the dictionary and an empty string. So for k comma v in object, so for the first key value pair, the key is a valid key. The type of key is indeed a string, and so it would just append the key and value to the result. And for next key value pair, the value is a nested object, so I would call the flatten function with the nested object and the key as the path plus k. So now the object is the nested object and the path is key 2. So now for k comma v in the nested object, so now the k key is a and the value is string. So okay, so this should be path plus k here. Oh, path not plus k, path plus. Okay, so I would format it rather. Mm, yeah, this should work. Let me try to run the code. Okay, there's a syntax error, invalid syntax.
I wonder if I think this is Pramp has an issue. They might be on Python too, and
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
don't know if
Yeah,
f
that makes
strings
sense.
were supported in Python too. So
Yeah, there's a different way to format strings in Python to using percent, but it's a bit clumsy.
yeah, I'm surprised these guys didn't update their runtime. You might have to do like a. Sorry, I'm just gonna type some stuff like do.
Yeah, using the percent as right.
Yeah, sorry,
No, no,
like
no, no. I don't need to call the functions. They would definitely automatically call the functions from the test.
oh, I was thinking, did you want to test a few of your own? Write a few you
I would try to just run the test if see if these works. Otherwise, if they fail, I can figure out what is failing in them and then fix the code.
cool, go for it.
Okay, all of them failed. I'm not okay. Is this the correct way to check? Just oh, it is. It doesn't have the debugger. Okay.
I can check that for you. I can't remember. I stopped doing Python at work, so I can't remember if it's comes up as string or str. Um,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It
Give
should
me
be
a
a class
second.
of it instance of string.
I can check that. You can carry on.
No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. In instance of is there is a function called instance of.
Yeah. I mean, type
Be-
works too. I think it's str. Yeah. Yep. So your key one works fine, right? In the output, it's the
No, my
nested.
actual output is actually completely undefined for some reason.
Hmm. Oh, sorry. I was looking at the input. Right. Uh.
Mm, I'm calling it with the dictionary, and this should be working. Comment the if statement, and anyway append the key as well. Let me see what. Okay, that's weird. I can try in JavaScript.
Um. I think it's. Do you want to go back to that? Let's debug that together. Right now, we're
Yeah,
just trying to get some output into result, right?
yeah, yeah.
You've got k comma v an object. Um. If k, and you're saying if type of v equals string, then you want to add something to result, right? That looks good to me. And in the end, you return result. Hmm. So I guess that was the problem. There's an error, and I think when you run the test, I think it's masking all the errors
Oh, okay. Let me see. So need more than one value to unpack.
in flatten.
Okay.
Ah,
Oh, it should be items. Yeah,
sorry, I shouldn't have done that, but I yeah.
it's okay. Yeah. Flatten takes exactly three arguments to given. Yeah. So now I don't need this. I don't need to pass the result explicitly. Object has no attribute items. Okay.
That's
Uh,
oh my god. Does
okay. Okay. I got it. No. No. Yeah. This should be fine. I just need to handle another case. So one thing that I need to handle is if path else k, and I just don't need to check only for string. I also need to check for anything else. So if it is only if it is an object, then I need to.
think that's
Uh,
okay. You can assume it'll be either a string or an object. Yeah, that's fine.
mm,
Cool. Did you?
uh,
Mhm.
I could clean this up a little bit. Yeah. Let me try running the test now.
Yep.
Okay, so if it is an empty string, then it shouldn't be considered, right? Uh,
Yeah, that
if the certain
was.
key is empty, it should be excluded from the output.
No.
Wait.
It should be like you can, if you see the example, like the example's
Oh,
got a
okay,
case like that.
okay, got it. Uh, so okay, in that case, also, so hmm, it's a bit tricky. I could simply do a recursive call for the value regardless of the current path, but if it is a nested object, then I need to use the parent key.
I think you almost got it. You've got um line 7, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you can use that? Like instead of having a if k and else, could you update the next?
Oh, okay. So otherwise, it would be just path instead of k.
Yes, yeah. And you might want to take out line 6, right?
But if I do this, then if the path is already empty, then it would consider it as the next path as empty. That's not the case, right?
So that would be a case where none of your keys have any value, correct? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that'll still work. Like, if you wanna
Okay. Let me. Yeah,
dot
this is the thing that
k.
I'm worried about.
Oh, sorry. Should that be? I meant if k, right? If k new path equals path plus k.
Okay. 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 Yeah. 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 Now it makes sense. Yeah.
Did you wanna run the tests?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
You got ah. You almost got it. We've just got to tweak this a little because it adds the first period even if part doesn't exist. Right, that's what's happening. If you see your,
oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I got it. Got it.
but otherwise I think it's correct. Key2.b, key2.k,
And path.
k, and path, else path. I think that looks good. Yeah.
No. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Let me remove this condition in the whole. So let me start it from the beginning.
sorry, I think you
So
got it. Can you go back? Sorry, just one thing you got to change. Right? Because you previously had path, but if path isn't there, um, you wanna do. Sorry, I really shouldn't be doing this, but
Path. Okay. Okay.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. This is
No problem.
I'm interviewing after a long time, so like after many months. So this, yeah, in a typical interview, this wouldn't happen, but it's a mock, so it's fine. But that makes
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I do
Uh,
wanna test a few. Yeah, did you want to test a few edge cases? Anything you're curious about?
from the test cases, I already see a few edge cases being covered, but yeah, if you want, if you have any other edge cases, yeah, I can surely look into them. It is the first key value pair. Yeah, looks good to me.
Yep, looks good. And yeah, that makes sense. You've got next path in there. Yeah, I think this looks good. Do you want to talk about time space complexity?
Uh, yeah, okay, so the time complexity, since we are just iterating over the key values pair once, it would be like the length of the longest nested route. I'm not sure how do we express it in terms of uh,
Mhm.
like some variables, but like the length of the longest nested route would be the time complexity, because like we are just iterating over each key value pair once, and if the value is a nested object, we are just recursively doing it the same thing again, but never doing anything repetitively or maybe unnecessarily.
Right, so it would be something like it's fine now, but in an actual interview, try doing it. And so I would say something like, let's say length of the dictionary is n. So your it'd be something like n times max of len of um n of value, right? Something like that. N of something like this, right? That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but like it goes deep down recursively. Like if n of value is again a nested object, like
Yeah,
we still have
you keep
to.
gotta keep going. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. What about space complex?
Space complexity would be like the total number of keys in the object, the order of total number of keys in the object, whether it is nested or not,
Yep.
unless it is an empty string.
Hmm.
Unless the key is an empty string.
Cool. Yeah, that makes
So that
sense.
would be, yeah.
Cool. We can do feedback at the end.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Cool. Yeah, I can swap roles.
Yeah.
Okay, 2D array binary matrix that returns the number of islands of ones in the binary matrix. Islands define group of adjacent values that are all ones. A cell in consider adjacent to another cell if they exist next to each other, the same row or column. Okay. Note that two values of one They share the mutual. That is the diagonal. Okay, so it has to be same row, same column. Explain, analyze the time complexities. Um. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, got it. Um. So what I'm thinking is, um, I'm gonna iterate through the 2D array in like a typical nested loop, right? From left to right, and then each
Yeah.
each row. Um, every time I come across a 1, I'm gonna increment my global counter. That'll be like islands count, something like that. And when that occurs, when I come across a 1, I'm gonna start like a helper function that'll pass through the left, yeah, the left and below row. And if one of those are 1, it'll be like a recursive call that keeps going on and on and on. And when a 1 occurs in that helper function, I'll change it to 0, so that in our main method, we won't recount the adjacent island. So the thing here is, depending on if we want to preserve these values, right, the original values, we can add a new number, maybe change those adjacent ones to a 2, and then later on in another method, we can reverse all those 2's back to 1's, and we'll preserve our input. If that doesn't matter, we can just change them to 0's, and that's fine. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah.
But like before you start, like you said, like you would just go bottom or right,
Bottom or right, yeah. You don't have
but you can go top and left as well.
Yeah, you don't have to, because
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't see my screen, but if I let me copy this output.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah, because we would go through them at a previous point,
the
right?
row wise and column wise column.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, so let me do Helen's count equals 0, and I'm gonna return the, this in the end. Um, and let me actually rows, and then can I assume? Okay, I can assume it's not an empty matrix. And then I can do for I in range rows, j in range false if mat of ij equals 1. And then let's call this clear island, and I'll just give it ij. And I can take a what I can do is, if this has been called, I'm gonna do mat of I j equals 0, and then I'll do a new row, new call. Or let me do x comma y in. So to go to my next, to my right, I would do 0, 1, and then this would be 1, 0. Then I'll do new row equals comma new all equals I plus x comma j plus y, and then I'll do if new row lesser than rows and new call lesser than calls and mat of new row new call equals 1. Only then would I make the recursive call. Otherwise, yeah, I keep going on. So I think that's good. I do want to test a few. Ah, I got 6. Hmm, did I miss something?
Uh, you still might want to consider going at
Going
least.
left, yeah. In this, the green one, I get it. Yeah, the green one.
Yeah.
So this would be,
And maybe even top as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, would I need top? I mean, I might as well. It'll only improve the efficiency slightly more. By
Yeah, like for example, if there a case like where you go continuously like 5 6 uh, towards the bottom, and then there is a left and then top.
yeah, that's true. Yep. And oh, sorry, I've got to add a few more cases.
Yeah.
Cool, we can try this.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh, I think be confident about this. I can run the tests.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a time complexity, it'll be m cross n, like where m is number of rows, n is number of columns. Yeah, because we might go through. We'll be only going through each element once at most max, because maybe once to clear out the island and then to go to this nested loop again. But that's still m cross n. Um, and space complexity, we pretty much have no. That would also be m cross n, because the recursive call only has those local variables I and j, so those are constant for each recursive function. And then the output itself is a single not a constant but a scalar value. So yeah,
So the space complexity would be.
space complexity would be m cross n.
Okay.
Because like imagine our island was fully all of once, right? So our clear island would be recursively called m cross n times, and each of those recursive calls would have some like stack. Um, sorry, not stack, um, heap
Yes.
memory allocated for it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I've forgotten my CS fundamentals to recursive calls take heap memory or stack memory, but yeah, these you gotta there'll be some memory for ing, right? For each of those recursive
Yeah.
calls.
Yeah. The recursive calls would be like using the system stack.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Memory allocation
forgotten
would
now.
be in the heap. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yep.
So anyway, like, is there? Do you think you can improve the space complexity?
Hmm. I don't think so. Like I do think the recursive calls are needed, and yeah. Um.
If we do a like iterative version is instead of recursive one.
Yeah, you could, but thinking would a iterative be possible? I guess an iterative would be possible. Like if I can't use zeros anymore. Like I can't set them to zero. Um, in my iterative solution.
Actually, you still could set them to zero.
So how would I identify? So maybe have a different idea in mind. My idea was gonna be for the first occurrence of a one, like when it's a new island that comes up. I would change its value to say two, and as I keep going through my 2D array, I'm gonna for each element I'm gonna check what's to its left and what's above it, and if one of those are set to two, then I would skip counting that island, and I would also set that value to two, and keep going. Um, and I think that time complexity would still be the same, and space, yeah, that would give an iterative solution. So space could be reduced to be constant. Did you? So number one, like, yeah, would you think that would work? And second thing, did you have a different approach in mind?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like if the the method is like same. Like if we are asked to not modify the initial 2D array itself, we could create a separate 2D array and use that. But that would just increase the space complexity.
Mhm.
Otherwise, if we still cannot modify the input array, we could instead of keeping a separate 2D array, we could just use a hash map and see which I and j have been visited and keep track of that. So if I come at position ij and I could do a O of one lookup in the hash map and quickly see if that has been visited or not.
Oh, but then space would still be m cross n, right? Because your
That
hash.
would be worst case scenario,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but
I mean, yeah.
in average case it would definitely improve because like if it is a sparse matrix of just like few islands, then the hash map would be small.
Yeah, but in that case, you're also not making your number of recursive calls to clear island would not be m cross n, right? It would be much lower. Like big O, um, big O was supposed to be worst case. So
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. All right. I think yeah, we can do feedback. I can go first for you. I think you did pretty well. I feel that's a tricky question unless you've done recursive stack based questions before. So I think you're pretty good in your understanding of data structures, and you were quick to come up with a solution. Um, I would have, this might be a personal way of approaching these questions. I would have liked to have seen you testing with few of your own test cases, unless you've already tried that out, because that would have showed your bugs, right? Like the dot items and um,
Right.
those kind of things. And yeah, the edge case, I was kind of hinting at that. I was hoping you would either ask about it or you would take a deeper look at the example. Um, Besides that, yeah, I think given time, like the changes we made to the if else statement, I'm sure you would have got that. So I don't think that was a problem. Your time space complexity analysis was great. No issues there. Your communication was good. I was, at every point, I was clear on what you were trying to do. Um, what else? Yeah, that's it. Maybe like like feedback for myself. Yeah, I shouldn't have gone and written code. Maybe I should have nudged you in the right direction. So sorry about that. But yeah, I think you did great.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so first of all, thanks for the feedback. I do really see, I would like definitely benefit a lot from your feedback. Like a few of the edge cases that you hinted and the approaches that I should take to first test the algorithm myself with few test cases. Yeah, that's definitely something that would really help me, and I would keep that in mind going forward. And yeah, like again in my question itself, I would just like to point out that I could have been a few more careful while reading the example, so that's something on my part. Yeah, so that's from my side. And now coming to this question, so yeah, so your approach was pretty clear. You came up with the optimal solution right away, and you clearly explained it as well. And the code is also pretty good. It's modular, uses functions wherever possible, uses clearly well defined function names and variable names, and the test cases are good. And they all passed in the first try, and the space and time complexity analysis was also on point.
Mhm, cool. Some feedback for my interviewee. Um, so he came up with the solution pretty quickly. He knew he had to go with the recursive solution. What else? Just clear communication. Um, Clean modular code. It wasn't good. Didn't consider edge cases. I also think he didn't quite ask about the input types. Like he knew it was a string or a dictionary, but he didn't consider if it could be other data types. And I don't think the question mentioned that. Edge cases, possible data type, didn't test his own test cases. I think everything else was good. Yeah, I really shouldn't have written code for him. That's not something you do. That's not something a typical interviewer would do. I'm still getting a hang of this. It's been a while. Yeah. How did you do as an interview? I think it was pretty good. Uh, Helped me out when needed. Didn't interfere too much because I don't like like it when interviewers really bother you and interfere with you writing your code. Would you pass? Yes, I would. Um, I feel pretty confident. I feel it's a tricky question, and did it, he solved it pretty well. Did I enjoy collab? Yes. My question wasn't too challenging. I've seen this is a lead code problem. Number of islands. Yeah, I've done this question a few times. Yeah, I've done it a few times. But even if you haven't done it, if you have experience solving graph traversal problems in like a 2D array kind of setup, it's a pretty easy question to solve. Um, so I'd say, yeah, medium difficulty. I think it was a good match. We seem to have similar skill set and knowledge. So yeah. Cool. I'm gonna stop the video here. Thanks for watching.